Welcome, everybody, again to The Rope Break. This is going to be the pay-per-view review show for Extreme Rules that happened last night. Much apologies that we couldn't get this out to you last night, but you know it doesn't matter. I wouldn't have posted it last night anyways.
This probably won't get posted up until Payback.
It'll get posted right before our preview show for Payback. But yeah, we usually do it right after the pay-per-view, just because everything's fresh in our memory. But I think actually it's better to do what we're doing now. I think because I was able to go back and watch a couple of matches that I thought weren't that good.
Well, it's a lot. You could never do that before because you had to wait till the pay-per-view came out on DVD unless you really downloaded it. So it's a lot easier to do that now. Yeah, but it's actually
it's better because before, and we'll get into all the matches, but before I really didn't think that the Intercontinental title match was that good. I thought it was just really boring. Then I watched it again, and it really wasn't that boring. It was actually a pretty entertaining match.
I told you.
Yeah. So I think actually it's better to do this, and maybe we'll do this format just going forward, just so we can actually get a second look at it.
Yeah, well, maybe we should do this, like, we'll watch Impact, and then we'll watch it again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's going to happen. Good luck getting me to watch Impact one time.
You're lucky if I watch the fucking intro.
That's the one. That's your one F-bomb. You already used it 1 minute into the broadcast.
Damn it.
You have to go the whole podcast without dropping another one. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, but yeah, we'll get right into it, and we'll just give our overall feeling on the pay-per-view. The pre-show match was We LC, and it was El Torito and Hornswoggle. I mean,
it was just a spot fest, something fun for the fans. It was entertaining.
It was, and then WWE just they kept the laughter rolling when they brought out three. What do they like to be called? They don't like to be called midgets.
Micro Cole.
No, but like little. I think it's little people. But they brought out three little people announcers. They brought out a little person ring announcer. They brought out a little person referee. Like it was. I mean, the coolest thing ever was the little person announce table, though. It was just a smaller little announce table. Plus, they had like little chairs that they used, little ladders. So. And a little table.
I love JBL. Like, where's their little Spanish announce table that they can go through? Stop going through our table.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a fun pre-show match. I mean, I would much rather this be the pre-show match than when you have like a title match on the pre-show. So I was okay with this. You're right. It was just
it's this type of pay-per-view though. It's Extreme Rules. They're supposed to use tables and chairs and all that kind of stuff. You know, all the other normal pay-per-views, you just get a boring match.
Yeah.
So Extreme Rules is always one of the better pay-per-views of the year because there is weapons involved.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. I would honestly say Extreme Rules is should be like the fourth or fifth best pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely in the top half of the pay-per-views going down the list, but yeah, I would definitely agree with that. This match was a spot fest. Actually, the funny thing is, this match was there's probably more use of weapons in this match than there was any other match on the card.
Yeah, probably.
But El Torito got the win. Fun little match. I don't know if there's anything more that really needs to be said about that.
No, because it has nothing to do with storylines or anything.
No. Although I will say this, and I hate 3MB because I think it's just they did nothing with it. I think it could have been something, but Hornswoggle in 3MB actually kind of looks legit for some reason. I don't know why. He just has that kind of look that like I actually buy him in that kind of a group for some reason.
Well, I think 3MB was like looking for any reason to get on TV, and they're like, well, why not add Hornswoggle to our group because WWE loves Hornswoggle.
Yeah.
So I just worked for them. They're like, yeah, give us more TV time. Woo.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that.
Which is sad because those guys are all talented. Well, Jinder and Drew are. I don't know about Heath so much.
Yeah. And then the other match I just want to get out of the way, and then we'll start talking about the matches that I thought were actually pretty entertaining, because actually the whole show wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty decent show. But then we had Alexander Rusev defeating R-Truth and Xavier Woods in what was
just what we said it was.
Yeah,
a squash match.
It actually went longer than I thought it would, but yeah, it was a squash match. It just, that's what it is, squash match. Don't really need to talk much about it because it really didn't do anything for Rusev. It did absolutely nothing for R-Truth and Xavier.
I think the fans were excited because Lana was out there.
Yeah, that was the best part, is seeing her bent over on the ring and seeing some nice cleavage. That was probably the best part of the match.
I don't know who has better legs, her or Stacy Keibler. It's pretty close.
I like hers better. I'm not a fan of taller women, but she is tall. Like when you see her with Rusev, you can tell that she is a tall woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the matches that really mean absolutely nothing on this card. Everything else actually had a purpose. Then we had Cesaro, Rob Van Dam, and Jack Swagger in a triple threat elimination match, which I thought was a pretty good match. I mean, it was definitely there was definitely action.
Three talented guys, yeah.
There was definitely action. I didn't like Swagger going out how he went out, or maybe as early as it went. I guess it's not that early, but I don't know. I think the more I see of Rob Van Dam, the more I'm just ready for him to retire. I think I'm a big ECW fan. I love Rob Van Dam, but I'm just tired of seeing him. I think he should have just never came back to the WWE, honestly. I mean, he was in TNA, he was you could tell his ring work was not there that much anymore. So but yeah, I mean, it was.
Well, you can't blame the guy. I mean, look how many bumps he's done over time.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting up there in age. It's not his fault at all. I'm just saying, me as a fan personally, I'm ready to see him just get off the TV and not come back. Cesaro got the win, beating Rob Van Dam after Rob Van Dam pinned Jack Swagger to make it 1-on-1. Good match, good triple threat match. I guess they made this an elimination match. I didn't know that it wasn't an elimination match already, but I guess they just decided it to be an elimination match.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure when that happened.
No, I got like a notification like an hour before the show started that it had decided to be an elimination style match. So, which I'm always a fan of. I love elimination style matches. Again, this match didn't really do too much for anyone. I would have rather seen Cesaro versus just Jack Swagger to heighten up their feud. Rob Van Dam getting thrown in there really didn't do anything for it. Just brought Rob Van Dam back. And Cesaro just looks, I guess, as strong as he did before.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, like I said, I thought RVD was going to win it, and he almost did, but, I mean, I understand Cesaro winning, too. They're pushing him, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Rob Van Dam, I'd like them to just, at this stage, put him in a tag team. I don't think singles careers, with all the fresh and new people in the WWE now, I don't think Rob Van Dam is getting over anymore as a singles guy. I think he just needs to be thrown into a tag team. Which he can still do good stuff. I mean, especially if his time is limited in the ring with a tag team, it would definitely help him. Then we had Bad News Barrett and Big E, like I was talking about earlier. I thought it was definitely a solid match, definitely a lot of action, and Big E went harder than I thought he was going to go actually in this match because he's kind of not been showing up that much as of late. But I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Wade got the win and won the title, but I think it was just as big a performance for Big E as anyone because, I mean, he really looked really good in this match. Wade did too, so a great back and forth match. You know, they both got, you know, a lot of their key moves in. I was pretty much watching this entire match. I was like, wow, this is just a really good match just for, you know, two guys you usually wouldn't expect. I mean, they're talented, no doubt, but WWE never gives them the time. But for like a quick 8 to 10 minute match it was.
Yeah.
And it told, you know, they went at it. You know, they're battling hard for a title. So, good to see Wade win, though.
Yeah, I didn't love the finish, though. That's the only thing about it that I didn't really like. But
yeah, I mean, it happens, but
yeah. I mean, that's nitpicking. It was a good match.
I don't know. It was a really good match.
And you're right though. Big E needed a good performance because he was looking just boring, like going into this. Like he just looked like he was just a replaceable kind of person. But yeah, you're right. He went very hard in this.
I mean, he like knew he was losing the title, and he's like more hungry now. So I kind of like that. But yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they go with him from now, because obviously he'll probably get a rematch, and then after the rematch, what do you do with him?
Yeah.
And he's either going to be a big part of WWE or he's going to fall into obscurity like everyone else.
Yeah, and it's I hope that doesn't happen because I like him. He doesn't have the greatest charisma, but I think he is definitely someone you could pair with a female or something like that to talk with him. And he's money in the ring. He really is. I know there's a lot of people that hate on him, but especially for being a big guy, he's good in the ring. I really do think he's good in the ring. So hopefully they do find something for him, because I don't want him to just go back down to NXT or just get released. Then let's talk about the women's title match, the Divas Championship. We had Paige and Tamina Snuka. I thought this was a breath of fresh air. As much as it's not so pleasing to watch Tamina in the ring, because she's not that attractive, she is a fairly good women's wrestler. And going against Paige, I thought it was really good, and it was definitely a better match than we're used to seeing on a pay-per-view.
Yep, I think it was probably the second best Divas match of the year that I've seen.
Ooh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Emma and Paige at NXT Arrival was the first match.
That's fast.
And then this match, I mean, name me another match that was better, Diva-wise.
AJ Lee and Natty on main event. Yeah.
Exactly. So nobody said anything.
Yeah, no, I proved you wrong.
Oh, okay. I think I remember that match now.
Yeah, it was where it was like AJ was leaving shortly after.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a solid match, but I don't know. Those two matches, I guess, could be tied.
No,
but
I agree.
I think I like this match, but if you could tell, the primary factor in this is Paige. She can, being 21 years old, she can go.
Is she only 21?
Yeah, they were talking about it, like, they said it like 35 times last night.
Oh, did they? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't pay attention to that, I guess.
I mean, she's only 21, and she's just kicking ass. I mean...
When did she go to NXT, then?
Who knows?
Like, I guess like as soon as she got to be 18 or something. Because she's been in there for a while. She's been in the system for a long time.
Yeah, so... I mean, she's just doing incredibly well, and Tamina is definitely a very good wrestler, and I think she's been in that bodyguard role for like the last year, it seems.
Yeah.
Or she wasn't even being used at all.
Yeah. Yeah, she was barely used.
She actually got to show off her skills last night, which was great because she is a very good wrestler. So I'm glad for Tamina, and hopefully she does get some more matches because she deserves it. She proved that she can wrestle with Paige and Natty and all these other good diva wrestlers. So I'm glad that she actually got some spotlight. People, they actually gave them some time. It wasn't a quick 3-minute match like usual diva matches. They actually gave them like 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and it definitely helps when you give the women time. I mean, you can't honestly expect two women to have a 5-minute match.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand if they're terrible.
Yeah.
But these two could actually wrestle, and it's actually entertaining. So they gave them at least, I think, at least 8 minutes, I would guess, and it turned out really well.
Yeah. The only thing I wonder now is with Paige is they are yet to set up an actual feud with her. So I don't know if they're going to just keep doing this where they just keep lining up the females and just like having her just knock them all down or something, and maybe by that time AJ Lee comes back and gets her rematch, or if they're going to finally just set her up with a feud maybe starting tonight on Raw. So that's the only thing I want to look forward to. But yeah, definitely a solid match. I was definitely impressed. Definitely impressed with Tamina too.
Yeah, the one other thing I wanted to point out was the timing of this match. Like, you had the Evolution match, then you had the Cena-Bray match, and then you're like, oh, yeah, the Daniel Bryan match, and then this match started. I'm like, oh, I kind of even forgot this match even on the card.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I was like, why is this match now? They should have... I mean, obviously they're breaking it up so the crowd, stays hot, cold, like they always do, but...
I was just shocked that they paired the Evolution Shield match right next to the Bray and Cena match. I was like, why are you doing that? Especially because those were the two... I
was shocked that Daniel Bryan match was the main event.
Me too. Because that was of the three big matches, that was by far the least hyped match leading up to it. I mean, Shield and Evolution, I would have sworn was going to end the night.
That's what I thought too.
So, or at least the Cena match, but yeah, it was definitely a solid match. And then we get into basically our three main events of the evening. The first being,
let's talk about Evolution one first.
Okay, first being Shield and Evolution. I guess a lot of people online are saying that this match was epic. I'm actually rewatching it. It's in the background as we do this right now. Because I wanted to kind of just rewatch it to see it, because starting the match, it wasn't that awesome. It was the way I saw it was, and Evolution had a promo earlier talking about that they all have egos. I felt that this was Evolution's way of showing their ego, of them personally, not in a wrestling standpoint, where the match was just slow and all three people from Evolution had to get in their stuff. But then they eventually got out of the ring, and it eventually just like hell broke loose, and that's where the Shield really takes over.
Yeah, and there were some cool spots like Dean Ambrose running across two announcers' tables, and jumping onto Triple H and I think Orton.
Yes.
That was cool. Seth's big jump from the balcony was cool. Roman Reigns had some good stuff too. He was hot there right at the beginning before they went outside.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone looked pretty good. I mean, they even made Batista look good. I love the triple powerbomb on Batista and pinned him, but then they pulled Roman out, and that's kind of when the chaos started.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it wasn't a terrible match. It was above average match.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
I mean, it had some nice spots, but I think people remember more of the spots than the wrestling, because the wrestling there was some decent stuff. I think it was more the Shield stuff that was decent. I couldn't even really tell you, other than maybe an RKO from Orton or a pedigree from Triple H. Those are about the only two moves that I remember those three doing.
Yeah, I mean. Basically, the styles of these two teams it really is old versus new. I mean, the old guys got in their classic kind of stuff in the beginning of the match, and then we got to see the fun Shield stuff. We got to see, just like you said, hell broke loose, or like I said, hell broke loose, and they got to the outside, and that's where honestly that's where the match started for me, because I was like, this is boring. I mean, and it's not that I hate watching that kind of wrestling, because I'm more of an actual pure wrestling fan completely, but it was boring. I mean, watching
it's that slow WWE style, and then it just went back to just chaos. That was fun.
And that slow style is what people like Randy Orton and Batista excel at. Like, Triple H could have done a lot more in this match, I feel. Like, even with his age, Triple H can adapt to just about anything, I think.
That was the thing too, is you have three, of the biggest stars of wrestling history in Batista, Orton, and Triple H.
Yeah.
And they're only minimally being used because they're a part of the team. I mean, yeah, granted, this isn't a forever thing. Evolution isn't going to be around forever. For what I understand, Batista's taking time off too, so he'll be gone.
They're trying to get him just to stay another month already.
Yeah, so it's just they were kind of slow. It's just that slow WWE pace. I was honestly shocked that the Shield actually won this match. I figured Evolution was going to win and set up another match at Payback or something, like a War Games type deal.
Well, this is my philosophy on that. I
was surprised Flair wasn't around too.
I was extremely surprised Flair didn't show up in this match. I think if Batista had given them for sure another month, I think Evolution goes over on this one. But I think Triple H is smart enough to realize that the Shield needed to go over in this whole thing regardless. So if there's not a for sure next match for next month or something like that, then they have to go over here. Okay, so what I just kind of felt was weird was, so you have this match and you have like Evolution and Shield in the ring, just have a traditional kind of match. Then you go to the outside, you have craziness on the outside, and then and it's like for 6 or 7 minutes you don't go to the ring, so you don't see Batista and you don't see Roman Reigns for a very long time, and then you do, and then it's like a minute or two later the match is over. It just seemed the ending of this one just seemed a little off to me. It just seemed a little weird. But what I did find to be humorous in my own mind is thinking of how Batista had to have felt after he got pinned.
Yeah, I mean, the last WrestleMania, they had him tap out.
Yeah.
And then this pay-per-view, he gets Superman punched, and then he got triple powerbombed early on.
Yeah.
He got Superman punched, and then he got speared to end the night.
Yep.
So they've pretty much just buried Batista, but the fans have pretty much buried him ever since after the Royal Rumble win. So
he got
it's kind of
so bad this match too.
Yeah, and it was. It's so weird because it's like you can't even. I don't even know if you could turn the guy face ever again.
No, I don't think you can. I was watching the show,
and even as a heel, like it's. I mean, he does a decent job as a heel.
Well, here's the thing: is if
I think he's just so out of touch now.
Oh, I think he is. I think he's completely out of touch now, and I think he doesn't. I think he's out of his element completely. But at this stage, he's a great heel because he is so booed and so disliked now. Yeah, he can't talk worth crap right now, and that's whatever. But I think if he does stay, I think he would be a fantastic heel just because he's. I mean, all you want as a wrestler is a reaction, whether it's good or bad. He's getting a very bad reaction, so that's good in a very weird sense. He really can be a great heel at this stage. He can't be a face. He cannot be a face ever again. They hate him too much. But I'd say roll with it. Roll with it of him being a heel. But whatever. We'll see if he even stays around. All right. So then we have the steel cage match versus with Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. I thought this match dragged on longer than it definitely had to. I was kind of just like waiting for it to end. But for a long time, it was a good match, and it was a very memorable steel cage match.
It was probably my favorite match of the night. I think it's more because of not because of the wrestling per se, but the ring psychology in it. With you had Rowan and Harper on the outside, and every time Cena would try and climb over, one of those two was right there, making him go back up the cage. They did multiple different things, like, Harper would climb up and then, battle with Cena on the top, and then eventually Cena threw Harper in. Then you had the one where Rowan climbed up. As Cena was coming down, he put his head between his legs and carried him back up the cage and back into the ring.
Yeah.
Every time he would try and go out the door, one of those two was right there. Then they had like a spot where Cena was tugging on the door with his strength, and then Rowan was trying to battle him back to keep the door closed. Definitely a lot of good spots. The actual wrestling in the ring between Bray and John was good.
Yeah, I mean it was hard. It was. Yeah. I mean they went at it. They used the cage very well.
Yeah, I was expecting John to maybe do a blade job, but he didn't do it.
That would have been nice if he did.
When he smashed his face against the steel a couple of times, I figured that's what they were going to do, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just I thought it was a really good match. I mean, just good back and forth stuff. Cena hitting the attitude adjustment off the second rope, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they you're right. There was a lot of good spots, a lot of good moments.
And then the ending, was just creepy and like unexpected, I guess. But I guess I could see it if I actually thought about it.
I was waiting for the Wyatt kind of split screen thing to happen, but I wasn't expecting that.
I honestly thought we were getting a fourth Wyatt family member. I didn't know who it was.
I thought we were getting Abigail.
Yeah, or something. I thought we were getting something, and I was like, oh, I was kind of on the edge of my seat, and then all I see is this little kid, and then they starts talking, and I mean, obviously it's not the kid's voice.
No,
but,
yeah, they do like a monotone kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like Cena's just creeped out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just a really good ending to the match, and it's going to continue this feud, and it is probably my favorite feud going on right now. I'm like definitely so interested to see what else they're going to do tonight and going into Payback.
And it's like so genius to bring in a kid to do this.
Yeah, it's like, and then like how they like were holding the kid's hand walking back. And,
yeah, I mean it's just like, really creepy.
Just like, yeah, and the best part is like 90% of Cena's fans are little kids.
Yes, and
so to use a little kid against him is like just. I don't know who's writing this stuff. I honestly think Bray is throwing these people ideas, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's great." Like Bray is a freaking genius.
There's no way this writing staff can come up with all this stuff.
No, I really think it's Bray. Like Bray writes his own stuff and gets it approved. And he's just a freaking genius with this character. He is so in tune with this character right now. It's hard to argue. He's like my favorite actual character right now.
Yes, and I'm so glad. I am so glad that he is getting over like this because I've been a fan of him since Husky Harris, and I was so disappointed when he got injured and then he got off and then he was doing something like.
Yeah, me and you watched NXT back in the day, probably like 2 years ago, and we watched like an episode or two for the first time in a long time, and we're watching him like, this gimmick is stupid.
Yeah.
And then we actually started to listen to him and get into it more, and we both realized, wow, this gimmick is actually really good.
Yeah, and I'll take blame. I did not think this was going to get over to a main audience on regular TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something totally different, though, so that's why it's getting over so much. It's something new. You haven't really had, like, a cult following kind of thing pretty much since Raven's Flock.
Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been anything like this, really, since Raven's Flock, and it's fantastic. One thing I was thinking about last night is how crazy would it be if this kid gets introduced as a kid that John Cena issued a Make-A-Wish Foundation to.
That is the other point I was going to bring up. I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome would it be?
I really hope they do that.
Yes, that would have been the best thing ever. Like, if they, like, did a promo earlier in the night showing this little kid getting his Make-A-Wish thing with John Cena, and they showed the promo video, and then later on he comes out and pretty much turns his back on Cena and joins up with the Wyatt family. Oh my God, I would have marked out like
it would have been awesome because it's like you have John Cena who does everything for the fans. Then the fans turn on him in a sense, making him go against all three members. Okay, so he still has the outside life of wrestling, doing everything he does for charity and the kids. Then you have this kid come in who gives him no hope now for that aspect of his life either. Like, every little thing would be crumbling around him. And I just think that would be so perfect. And that, I mean, God, it's like, I don't think you can turn him heel. I really don't. But to turn him at least to a darker Cena, I think would be great for his character development, and it would be really interesting to see on TV. So I hope they do go that route still. I hope they mention something like that tonight on Raw. But, yeah, I loved I love that whole thing. And then afterwards, they had like they did a little promo with the kid again, and the Wyatts, and it's creepy, and I love it. And it's like I just hope it still continues. I hope it continues for a long time. Okay, then we have the main event of the evening. We had Daniel Bryan versus Cain in what was billed as really the only Extreme Rules match of the night, where anything went on, and I was really interested to see how hardcore they would go, how hardcore they would let Cain go, how Daniel Bryan would adapt to him being hardcore, and I thought it was a good balance of everything. And you saw
there were some silly spots too, like Daniel Bryan pulled off the cover off of the announce table, and it was just like a flappy like little cardboard paper thing. He like hit him with it, and he like fell down.
Did they get that from TNA?
Yeah, it was bad. There was that, and there was the other. I hated how there must have been the sports commission kind of thing when they did the flaming table at the end.
Yeah.
Like Cain goes through the flaming table and immediately gets up and runs in the ring while these people come with fire extinguishers and extinguish the fire. And like anyone you go through a normal table, you're not getting up and running around like getting back into the ring.
Yeah.
So like why even do that spot if they're gonna do that? Like it just made it so cheesy and dumb.
Another thing about that spot that I hated, first of all, you could see the people with the fire extinguishers before it even happened. Secondly, you saw Cain put a lot of gasoline on the left side, a lot of gasoline on the right side, and very, very little in the middle. And that's obviously where he's going through. So
yeah, he had to light it twice.
Yeah. So I didn't like that spot, even though it's fire. You're like, oh, awesome, that's something crazy for WWE. I thought it was used not in the right way. Like I love the way they used it with Mick Foley and Edge a couple years ago at WrestleMania. But yeah, I didn't care for that spot at all.
No, I think that's what turned this match. That made me like, even though it was right at the end, it made me not like this match that much.
Yeah. I mean,
like I thought this was average at best. Like
it was, and it's like,
like they had Cain beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan for 2 weeks and stalk him and all that. And, like, in this match, like, yeah, Cain got his shots in and stuff, but he really didn't,
he didn't come off dominant.
Yeah, he didn't come off dominant at all. It was like Daniel Bryan got more shots in, too. And then Daniel Bryan hit him in the head with the tire iron in the back. And then
I did like that spot, though.
Yeah, there was something different, something cool.
Yeah.
I like Daniel Bryan jumping off of the pallet. I think that was really cool. Doing his best Chris Benoit impersonation. I thought that was great. But overall, I thought it was an average match. Cain just really, he didn't come off dominant like he has on, TV lately. So, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it. And then from what I've been reading and hearing is since Batista doesn't want to work Payback, that they're thinking about doing another Cain and Daniel Bryan match, and it might be a Buried Alive match.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with this feud because of like the tag team work and everything that those two did together and everything. Although they're not talking about that very often at all. They're not like, this feud has not gotten hyped up whatsoever, really.
Yeah, it could be a lot better.
It could be. I
think it's mainly because Kane's not a big star anymore. He's just not a big star.
No, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I mean, it's kind of like with like RVD. Even though Cain is more enjoyable to me to watch in the ring than RVD is now, it's time for him to go too. Like he's been like. It's hard to even imagine that Cain was now in a main event.
Exactly what I was just going to say. Is I couldn't even tell you the last time Cain was in a main event.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense to me watching this.
Yeah, and
the match dragged on, and it just...
I mean, he had the match at WrestleMania, and it was 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Against Shield.
Yeah.
I mean...
Oh, yeah.
It was just... I couldn't believe this was the actual main event that they put on. I get why they did it. It's because it is their WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. And the worst part about this is ammunition for Vince and the McMahons to be like, hey, this is why we didn't want Daniel Bryan as world champion, and it's not Daniel Bryan's fault whatsoever.
No, it's not at all.
But I think it's not him.
It's not Kane's fault either. It's just it's just how it is. So.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the match was okay. It should have been a lot better, which it sucks to think about because this match really could have been better, and it definitely could have been built a lot better, and it really wasn't. And then this for this to be the main event just didn't. I mean, just because he's the champion doesn't mean it has to be the main event. I mean, think about how many times CM Punk was world champion and he wasn't in the main event.
Yeah.
So it just didn't. It just I wasn't a huge fan of the main event, but overall, I thought the show was pretty good.
So did I. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Definitely could have been better in spots.
Yeah.
There wasn't a match that sticks out to me as well, other than the Rusev match, but we expected that to be a squash match.
Yeah.
But there isn't a match that stands out to me that says, "Oh my God, that was crap."
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the card now. I would watch.
Like it might have been better than WrestleMania.
Well, that's what I said that kind of jokingly, but I would rather watch this show again than WrestleMania.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of agree. Like, this might be their best pay-per-view they've done all year.
Could be right. I mean, Royal Rumble was.
I mean, overall wise, best.
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
I think you're right. Overall wise,
match.
consistently with all the matches. Yeah. When you look at all the matches, because you take away.
Which is. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you take away the pre-show match, obviously, because it's just on the pre-show, and you take away the Rusev match. I would watch all the other matches again.
Which is surprising because usually after WrestleMania is pretty much their downtime, and then SummerSlam rolls around, and then things start picking back up.
Yeah. So.
Which is even SummerSlams aren't that great sometimes, but last couple of years they've been a little bit better.
Yeah. Usually, actually, the pay-per-views that should be like their top 4 usually really aren't, and then the ones a pay-per-view like this will kind of sneak up on you and be like, hey, pretty good. So, I agree. I'd give this a 7.5 out of 10. Good show, and it makes you interested to see where they go now tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty much going to be the same type of stuff. I mean, you're going to have. I think Kane and Daniel Bryan's going to continue. I think Cena and Bray is going to continue. It'll be interesting to see where they go with Evolution and Shield.
Yes.
If Batista's leaving, I mean, are they going to do Triple H and Orton versus 2 of these guys? I don't know. It makes really no sense. I don't know where they're going to go with it.
No, I mean, that's the fun thing is you look at these matches and what are they going to do with Shield and Evolution? What are they going to do with the Bray Wyatt, John Cena? I'm interested to see what they do with Paige. I guess I'm not so interested, kind of, because we know what they're doing with Daniel Bryan and Kane, or with Batista. Interested to see.
And there's a lot of guys that are sitting on the bench right now too.
Yeah, and I guess I forget the 2 names, but there were 2 guys from NXT, I guess that weren't used very much on NXT, that are getting called up and will be on Raw tonight, and the taping on Tuesday.
Yeah, Adam Rose will be there tonight.
Yeah, Adam Rose will also be there. He's coming to Raw finally. So we'll see how this party bus kind of thing works out on Raw, because we haven't seen it too long on NXT. He's only been on NXT with this gimmick for a couple months now. So interesting to see.
It's really funny because he was Leo Kruger for a year, couldn't get on TV. He's Adam Rose for 2 weeks, and he's on TV.
Which that gimmick would have maybe actually worked in the Wyatt family.
Yeah, like he definitely could have. Like,
it's just weird to go from a serial killer to like a hippie who loves everything, including
he's
fun.
Like, let's party, man.
Yeah,
that's great. I love it. I actually love the character. I think it's great.
I do too. Like, it'll be interesting to see. If
they should tag team him and Fandango. I think that would be great.
Actually, that wouldn't be bad.
Like, they don't do anything else with them, so.
No.
But there's some guys sitting on the bench right now that really don't have anything going on. Like, Sheamus wasn't even on this pay-per-view. Alberto Del Rio wasn't even on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes and Goldust were so hot there for a while, they haven't even been used, really.
No, I mean, they've just been kind of, like, teasing the breakup between those two.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, you might as well just have them break up, like, tonight and then make a match for Payback.
Actually, yeah, that'd be perfect.
We both love Cody, so I want to see Cody get in, some meaningful matches.
Yeah,
either as a face or heel. I mean, he could do either or.
Yeah, I think at this point it might be time just to turn him heel.
Yeah, I think it's time to turn. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about turn Sheamus heel too. That might be another opponent for Daniel Bryan as Sheamus.
Oh gosh.
I don't think that would be bad. I mean, they've worked together before. They've done some good stuff before. So.
Yeah. Oh, Sheamus. Oh gosh, Sheamus in a title match. Oh. Okay, I think that's gonna be it.
It's better than Orton again, or.
Yeah, I agree. It is better.
It's something different.
It's something different. It's just, oh god.
Like, I would love if they would push Del Rio. I would love to see Del Rio versus Daniel Bryan, because those two would put on some great matches.
I think they would. I think they just think that Del Rio's not staying around for the long haul, and they don't really want to reward him in any fashion at this stage, which is kind of disappointing, because I mean, as much crap as I have given him in the past, he really he can work a match well. He's underrated. He does have good psychology in the ring.
Yeah, he's really underrated in the ring.
Yeah, I think he is. So, but anyways, that is going to end our show for our review show for WWE Extreme Rules. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to our regular weekly show this week that will get posted in about a month.
All right, see you guys later.